Call to order a special meeting for the normal local liquor commission. Please call the roll.
Commissioner Coos?
Here.
Mr. Fritzen?
Here.
Mr. Preston?
Here.
Mr. McBride?
Here.
Mrs. Lorenz?
Here.
Mr. McCarthy?
Here.
Ms. Gaines is not here.
Purpose of the special meeting is to consider a request for a license for SLCB Enterprises LLC doing business as DP, DP Doe at 121 East Beaufort Street, and they are applying for a Class B beer only on premises consumption license.
Move approval.
Second. Is there discussion on the item? Please call the roll.
Mr. Fritzen?
Aye.
Mr. Preston?
Aye.
Mr. McBride?
Aye.
Mrs. Lorenz?
Aye.
Mr. McCarthy?
Aye.
That concludes our business on this special meeting. A motion for adjournment.
So moved. Second.
Second.
Please call the roll.
Mr. Preston?
Aye.
Mr. McBride?
Aye.
Mrs. Lorenz?
Aye.
Mr. McCarthy?
Aye.
Mr. Fritzen?
Aye.
Mayor Coos?
Aye. We are adjourned. Now, I think I neglected to say that I did approve that license, so we'll take that out of the meeting there. Call to order, regular meeting for the normal town council for February 20th, 2017. Please call the roll.
Mayor Coos?
Here.
Mr. Fritzen?
Here.
Mr. Preston?
Here.
Mr. McBride?
Here.
Mrs. Lorenz?
Here.
Mr. McCarthy?
Here.
Ms. Gaines is here.
We'll begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We begin with an omnibus agenda, items that are considered routine and will be handled by one vote unless a council member would like to pull an item for discussion. I would like to be excused on voting any bills I may have incurred in my duties as mayor. Mr. McCarthy?
I'd like to pull item F, please.
Motion for
Move
approval?
approval.
Thank you. Items considered under the omnibus for one vote are approval of the minutes of the regular meeting of February 6, 2017, and approval of town of normal expenditures for payment as of February 15, 2017. A resolution authorizing an agreement for construction materials testing services for the 2017 construction season, and that's with Ramsey Geotechnical Engineering. A resolution approving hourly rates and direct costs for 2017 with Clark Dietz Incorporated, Crawford Murphy and Tilley Incorporated, Farnsworth Group, Lewis Yaki Brown Incorporated, Maurer Stutz Incorporated, and White and Company to provide engineering services for various town departments. A resolution authorizing the execution of an intergovernmental agreement for the police shooting range facility, and that's with the city of Bloomington. A resolution authorizing the installation of fiber optic traffic signal communication lines under the existing traffic signal maintenance contract with Champion Signal and Lighting in an amount not to exceed $25,000. A resolution to appropriate $220,000 of the town's allotment of motor fuel tax funds for the traffic signal improvements at Towanda Avenue, Vernon Avenue intersection. A resolution authorizing a license agreement with Metro FiberNet LLC, doing business as Metronet, for the placement of antennas and equipment on the Pine Street water tower. And an ordinance approving an amendment to the license agreement with Metro FiberNet LLC for the installation of a fiber optic hut on town property at 700 Pine Street. Please call the roll.
Mr. Fritzen?
Aye.
Mr. Preston?
Aye.
Mr. McBride?
Aye.
Mr. Lorenz?
Aye.
Mr. McCarthy?
Aye.
Ms. Gaines?
Aye.
Mayor Coos?
Aye. The omnibus is approved with the exception of item F, a resolution authorizing an intergovernmental agreement between the town of Normal and the city of Bloomington for replacement of traffic signals at Towanda Avenue and Vernon Avenue. Mr. McCarthy?
Move approval.
Thank you.
Second.
Second. Mr. McCarthy?
Thank you. I'm wondering if staff can kind of speak. There's a lot going on in this intersection and kind of talk us through what we're responsible for, what Bloomington's responsible for, what we're paying for, what they're paying for, and just a little bit more clarity for that.
The project as designed now includes the replacement of all the traffic signal equipment at the intersection. That includes the poles, mast arms, signal faces, pedestrian push buttons, everything having to do with signals controllers and cabinets. It also involves some minor ADA sidewalk works at all the corners, which is required to, one, make the new push buttons accessible, and anytime we touch an intersection or do anything, we have to bring all the ADA ramps and things up to the current standards. The other thing involved in this project is the installation of a right turn lane on the northbound Towanda leg to serve eastbound Vernon. And that is the portion of the project that Bloomington has designed, and they are totally paying for that improvement themselves. The town is only paying the 75% of the traffic signals and the ADA ramp improvements on our three corners, which we're responsible for, in the same manner that we share power and maintenance costs on this intersection, the 75-25 split.
Okay. So signals are ours, road improvement is theirs.
Pardon?
I said, so signals are ours, road improvement is theirs.
Well, pretty much. The signals are 75% ours, 25% Bloomington's. Bloomington does maintain this intersection, though, just because it's very close to the IAA Vernon intersection and Veterans and Vernon. So this intersection has always been included as one of them that they maintain.
Okay. Good to know.
Ms. Gaines?
Excuse me. We had determined a while ago that in the town of Normal, we were using black mast poles and all.
That's correct.
Will these be black?
Yes.
Cool. Thank you.
Mr. Fritzen?
Even though it's Bloomington's road project, can you explain how the right turn lane fits in the same road bed that exists there? There's a median there, somewhat of a non-mountable median there on that northbound area. So will that come out, and will there still be two lanes that can go north on Towanda? And
Yeah, there are no lane reductions, just an addition of a right turn lane. They are actually encroaching a little farther to the east. The power poles that were located there have been moved behind the sidewalk now, and then they'll also be utilizing some of the median space to get that extra width for the right turn lane. But there'll be no reduction in the other two lanes.
so the right-of-way that was referred to today doesn't exist as roadway, but it is right-of-way.
There's right-of-way there, though, beyond the back of curb.
Thank you.
Ms. Lorenz?
And just a clarification, this is an intergovernmental agreement to do this project. We don't have firm costs, we just have estimated costs. Will it come back to us then when you get those bids?
Normally, unless it would be significantly different,
Okay.
we probably wouldn't. Hopefully the estimate will be in line with what the bid unit prices
City will
are.
award the contract.
But Bloomington,
Bloomington?
yeah, it
We
is
are
a
not-
Bloomington contract.
It's a
Yeah,
Bloomington
we are not
project.
awarding the contract, we're just participating.
Got it.
I will tell you, if for some reason our share was significantly higher than what we're estimating, we would probably come back and get authorization, but other than that, since the city is actually awarding the contract, they will approve it, but it won't have to come back to you.
Okay.
Mr.
And they
Preston?
want our concurrence before they award, too. We've had those discussions already.
My question was just answered, actually.
Okay. Mr. McBride?
So just for some background on shared intersections like this, I mean, is the split kind of pre-established and, there's precedent? Is that how that works? And that's where the 75-25 comes from?
Yeah, there's a master agreement between us and the city of Bloomington for shared intersections, and it's essentially, three of the quadrants are in the normal corporate limits, and the one quadrant is in Bloomington, so
Sure.
that's how we come up with it.
Thanks.
Brilliant.
I might just ask Mr. Brown, just so, I don't think the report lists the anticipated cost of the turn lane, or maybe it does, but
Well, it just says the total cost of the project is
Yeah.
approximately $624,000.
our share is roughly 200,000.
200,000.
Right, so.
Yeah.
Further on this item? Please call the roll.
Mr. Preston?
Aye.
Mr. McBride?
Aye.
Mrs. Lorenz? Aye. Mr. McCarthy?
Aye.
Ms. Gaines?
Aye.
Mr. Fritzen?
Aye.
Mayor Kus?
Aye, the resolution is approved. We have one item of general orders tonight, resolution to accept a bid and award a contract, including the base bid and alternate A to Rowe Construction Company, a division of United Contractors Midwest, and that's in the amount of $604,133.44 of the base bid and $209,848.75 as the alternate A, for a total of $813,982.19. This is for the Towanda Avenue Broadway Place resurfacing and replacement of the Ironwood Golf Course cart path tunnels under Towanda Avenue, and an approval of an associated budget adjustment. Motion
Move
for
approval.
Thank you.
Second.
Is there discussion on this item? Mr. McCarthy?
First, I'm very happy that we're coming up with an alternative that isn't going to close the roadway for a long time. And some of the Ironwood residents was expressing concern about that. So I'm really happy that we came up with another alternative. Thanks for that. Can you share a little bit of background on the alternative A bid? It seemed to come in a good bit different than our estimate initially.
Yeah, the alternative A bid is for replacement of the two golf cart tunnels. We had originally, gotten a material cost for those, and then added some in for the construction and had an estimate that we felt was, fairly correct. But of course, the bids came in significantly higher. After the bids, I contacted Rowe Construction to find out if that was their number, or if they had also called some of the other subcontractors who might do that type of work. That's not really Rowe's niche per se. I mean, they can do it, but that's not the work they really want to do. Well, they had said, yes, we did contact two other contractors, the two others that I would have probably contacted, and they were actually using the price of one of those contractors in their bid. So it really, because I had considered, pulling that out and we would bid that as a separate project, but since they had already gotten prices from two of the contractors that I would have probably gotten bids from, it really didn't make much sense to pull it out. We wouldn't have seen probably any cost savings.
Thank you.
I know, Mr. Brown, you had some theories as to why that might have been a little bit more expensive. The fill material, I know, was a concern, and then just maybe some uncertainty.
Yeah, the contractor had some concerns, depending on the stability of the trench walls. The flowable fill component, which is the material they use to backfill the excavation, we bid that item as a lineal foot item, but if everything would start caving in and the excavation would get larger, of course, they have to use more of that material. So they bid a number that hopefully will cover them. Sometimes we win in that arrangement and sometimes we lose. If we try to estimate a cubic yard quantity and then it gets greater, then we end up paying more also. So it's kind of a gamble, but usually the lineal foot bidding works best.
Mr. Fritzen?
The grinding off of the concrete surface and then doing the hot asphalt over that. Have we done that elsewhere? And has that been a pretty successful process?
We have done that on Fort Jesse Road from Beach Street to Towanda Avenue. And we have also done it just 2 years ago on Blair Drive from College to Fort Jesse. And we mill it, we clean the joints and get all the loose material out, fill that with a sand type mix, excuse me, and then also we use a crack control fabric to retard those cracks from coming through the new asphalt. It doesn't stop them completely, but it does retard them somewhat and delays them coming through. And so far, I think Fort Jesse, the one block would be 7 years old now, 8 years old, and seems to be holding up quite well.
Yeah, I mean, it just seems like having that subsurface for the hot mix is really a more stable than just other hot mix road beds. So
Oh yeah, definitely.
the word nominal is in there. Nominal depth of 2.5 inches. Does that mean that's the minimum we would ever put down a hot mix? Or?
Yeah, we don't like to go a whole lot thinner than that. You need to be able to put down what they call a level binder mix, which you really can't lay much less than 3/4 of an inch, 3/4 to an inch, and then we like to get a nice thickness of the new surface on to restore that structural capacity of the pavement that we've removed in the milling operation.
Thank you.
Ms. Lorenz?
Well, I probably have to speak up on this since I live along Towanda Avenue, so I will be one of those residents, maybe a bit inconvenienced, but it'll be well worth it. And so I kind of want to talk a little bit more about this alternative rather than to remove and replace the concrete as it is. That's a big neighborhood out there, 600 and some homes. Towanda Avenue, as I've seen it over the 23 years that we've lived there, has increased in vehicular traffic, particularly as we've gotten more neighborhoods up to the north along Northtown. So essentially, if I understand correctly, that road has lasted better part of 30 years.
Just about, yeah.
And I walk it, and I know that it's ready for some improvement. And as I have walked it, and one neighbor in particular shared with me last fall, asking, when was it going to get completed? And I said in the spring. There is a perception out there that the fact that it's not going to be removed and replaced with what we've known for 30 years, i.e. a concrete road, that there's this perception that it's something less than we're being, a corner is cut or something. So can you speak to the longevity of this approach that we're taking, and also, any cost comparison? I mean, it sounds like you've got 7 years under our belt with Fort Jesse, but what can you tell me as far as in 30 years, will we still feel pretty good about what we've got, or will it be less than that, but we've also not spent as much? So help me through that longevity, the kind of the value of what we're doing here.
Well, the overlay project we're doing, we would expect a lifetime of about 15 years on this.
Okay.
A concrete, we would, design it for a 20 to 25-year life, hopefully get a little more than that, but actually, we probably really only got about 25 out of that pavement, even though
The last 3
we're
years have
almost
been a
at
little
30.
sketchy. Yeah.
It's been needing some work for a few years now. Cost-wise, the actual cost of just the overlay portion of this project is about $450,000. If you take it out of the contract, because some of this contract we're awarding tonight is, of course, for Broadway Place also, and for the cart paths. Concrete, the first problem with the concrete alternative is we looked at this project, and there really wasn't an easier way to do it than about 5 stages. To maintain access for all the people that live along it, and for all the people in the cul-de-sacs that live off of it, and also for the golf course, if we would have gone concrete, the access to the golf course would have had to been from the south end for almost the entire summer. Because 5 or 6 stages on a concrete removal and replacement, you're looking at 10 to 12 weeks probably minimum. That's with no inclement weather or anything, which most likely is not going to happen. And we just felt that there was no way we could have that road disrupted for that long a period of time, and serve the needs of the people living along it.
So people in the golf course and residents would be disrupted for that entire 10 or 12 weeks?
Yeah, because, you would not ever be able to go south until the project was done. Now, a few of you would be able to, but the majority of the people in Ironwood, off each side of Towanda Avenue, on Ironwood Drive and around, they would have to go out to Northtown Road during the majority of the project.
Is there concern about safety and access from fire for that reason, or is it just
Well,
convenience?
that would be one consideration. I mean, we can usually get fire trucks through if we have to, but there would be a concern with that. And then just the general disruption. People would having to be walked 1 to 2 blocks to get to their driveways. That would be, during the entire phase of the project in front of their house. There would be no way to get them to their drive.
So I live in a cul-de-sac, so for 10 to 12 weeks, I would be parking a couple blocks down?
Probably not the entire time.
Right.
You would maybe 2 to 4 weeks, you might have to find alternative parking.
Okay.
And then cost-wise, it's probably another, we could do a full concrete removal, but with all the staging, you're probably looking at another $400,000 on top of, what the asphalt's costing. So you might be looking at an $800,000 or more project. That's barring that we didn't find bad subgrade and any other, and not have, like I said, inclement weather. And we would probably want to put aggregate under the new concrete. Back 30 years ago, we didn't do that on those streets. And now we would at least put a 4-inch aggregate base under it. That facilitates drainage and gives them a working platform.
Great. Mr. Preston and then Mr. Goodson.
Thanks, Mayor. A quick follow-up, Mr. Brown, from one of the last questions that Ms. Lorenz asked. So we're anticipating if you were to do the removal and replacement with new concrete, that for anybody, any home along Towanda or any cul-de-sac along there, they would be blocked for, you said, 4 to 6 weeks each?
Probably 2 to 4 each one, because as we move down the road, they'd be able to then, as we get past their cul-de-sac, they would be able to go out to the south or the north, depending which end we started on.
But would likely be blocking the entrance to each cul-de-sac for 2 to 4 weeks. Okay.
Mr. Fritzen?
Ms. Lorenz's comments remind me that at times you've talked about a newer process where you mill off the concrete and then you put a concrete on top of that instead of the hot mix. We've never pulled that trigger, I don't think. You've investigated those things and studied those things, and I would guess if this isn't a project where that would work, you probably have decided that that's not ready for.
Part of the problem with that process is instead of just cleaning the joints and filling them, we would really need to remove them entirely, do full depth patching in the areas where the pavement's failed. Well, by the time you throw in the cost of full depth patching and the time to do that work, now the project is even longer. But you could do a concrete overlay. I mean, it's possible, but it's kind of dependent on what the condition of the existing pavement is.
Thank you.
Mr. McBride?
Just a comment, as somebody who lives about a block and a half as the crow flies from the intersection of Blair and Fort Jesse, not too far from you, Mr. Brown, I think the residents are going to be pleased with the result. So far, so good.
Okay. So if I may, just one wrap-up summary from you, Mr. Brown. As I'm walking the neighborhood, what's the elevator speech to say why this is the best thing?
Well, I think it's the best method because, one, the disruption to the people living along there
Okay.
would be substantial. I mean, you just think about it. If you had to for 2 weeks or so, might be parking, 500 to 1,000 feet from your house. That's one thing. We would have the golf course, of course, shut off from the north direction almost the entire summer. That's the biggest thing right there, just I think the inconvenience. And then there is some cost savings. In the long run, it might equal out, but I think this is the best alternative at this time for this roadway.
Okay.
I will add to that. I'm included in this group. A lot of people prefer asphalt surfaces, much smoother, no joints. Concrete streets are rough by nature. There's lots of joints. There's along those joints, there's always a potential for failure. That's where most of the failures have occurred on Towanda's along joints, and that's always a problematic. So I think what's done, residents will be thrilled. It's a beautiful surface, beautiful driving surface, very smooth, and it may not last 25 years, but when the time comes to mill that and replace it, it's not a big deal. It's fairly easily done. And again, we're talking just a few weeks here.
Yeah, really, the only time the road will actually be closed at either end is doing the tunnels. We have to close the road to do those for, I think we are giving them 10 working days on each tunnel to complete that work. Otherwise, the road will never be closed at night. There may be closed to through traffic during working hours when we're laying the new asphalt, but otherwise the road will be open the entire time. The other advantage to this is down the road, when we do need to do some maintenance, we can do a lot of this maintenance in-house. We can mill out rough spots ourselves and fill them with asphalt. We can repair the joints in the asphalt that need repair with our own staff. Where with concrete, we can do some of that too, but it's much easier and much faster, and we can once again do it without closing the road down on the asphalt surface.
I was wondering about that. Okay.
Further on this item? Please call the roll.
Mr. McBride?
Aye.
Mrs. Lorenz?
Aye.
Mr. McCarthy?
Aye.
Ms. Gaines?
Aye.
Mr. Fritzen?
Aye.
Mr. Preston?
Aye.
Mayor Kus?
Aye. The resolution is approved. One item of new business tonight, that is a motion to approve an appointment to the Planning Commission. Motion for approval.
Move approval?
As this is an item of personnel, there will be no discussion unless a council member would like to take this item to an executive session. And seeing no such request, please call the roll.
Mrs. Lorenz?
Aye.
Mr. McCarthy?
Aye.
Ms. Gaines?
Aye.
Mr. Fritzen?
Aye.
Mr. Preston?
Aye.
Mr. McBride?
Aye.
Mayor Kus?
Aye. The appointment is approved. Ms. Gaines, would you read that appointment?
Sure. The appointment is of Ms. Tracy Wittergreen, I believe.
Wintergren.
Wittergren, okay. Sorry, excuse me. To the Planning Commission to fill the vacancy created when Mr. Joe Cleary left the Planning Commission. And she's going to be fulfilling a full 4-year term, and that's going to expire March 31st, 2021. So welcome aboard. Thank you very much.
We're taking a motion for adjournment. Are there comments or concerns?
We adjourn.
Thank you.
Second?
Please call the roll.
Mr. McCarthy?
Aye.
Ms. Gaines?
Aye.
Mr. Fritzen?
Aye.
Mr. Preston?
Aye.
Mr. McBride?
Aye.
Mrs. Lorenz?
Aye.
Mayor Kus?
Aye, we are adjourned. Thank you.